Michigan Authority is horse. Michigan Short Track Racing Authority is Horsepower Happenings.
Charlie Bauer, welcome into Horsepower Happenings.
Scotty Thiel, welcome to Horsepower Happenings.
John Beach, welcome into Horsepower Happenings.
Adam Terry, welcome into Horsepower Happenings.
Paul Pelletier.
Corbin Hazlett, Riley Knoll.
Matt Kemp, Dylan Stovall, welcome into Horsepower Happenings.
From pavement to dirt, modifieds to sprint cars, hear from drivers, promoters, track owners, and many other industry leaders.
We worked on that car for 12 days straight, and when I got to the speedway Saturday, I was out of gas. I had to take a nap.
You're out there and, you know, that groove, if you're outside of it, you could be a couple tenths off or even half a second off.
It is not a shock that you've won all these races. You know, I mean, there's so many pieces to the puzzle to make these cars go fast.
I don't care what he says. I saw a thing on Facebook on somebody's post that's now been deleted that one of his crew guys said that the spotter told him car low and I wrecked him.
With over 50 years of experience from racing to management, here are Zach Heiser and Rich France.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome into Horsepower Happenings. A great show lined up for you tonight. We've got Max Stambaugh and the MadMax Moment with Craig Mintz straight ahead. But first, here's what's happening in a Motor City Minute. The Wild West Shootout got underway at Central Arizona Raceway. Yeah, that's not how it sounded the last few years. This weekend, Ricky Thornton Jr. grabbed night number 1 Saturday before heading off to the Chili Bowl. Hudson O'Neal took home night number 2 for his first career Wild West Shootout win. Must-See Racing crowned their champions over the weekend, honoring national champion Joe Ligori and Midwest Lights champion J.J. Hennis. Teresa Stett, car owner of the year. Kevin Mingus named crew chief of the year. And Rich, our friend Adam Mackey was honored over the weekend at the Dirt Car Nationals Championship Banquet in Springfield, Illinois. He was bestowed the Bob Memmer Award for his work and contributions to Illinois dirt track racing. Sam Driggers presented those honors. Those things and so much more happening tonight on Horsepower Happenings. Good evening. Welcome in. I'm Zach Heiser. Rich France joins me from across the way. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Good, Zach. Starting to get the suit going and all pressed and cleaned up and getting the voice going, getting it warmed up for Saturday. We're going to get a workout, I guess.
Yeah. A workout, that's right. The Michigan Auto Racing Fan Club Championship Awards Banquet coming up this Saturday. We'll have those details coming up at the end of the program. Week number 2, Rich, of being live on Facebook. So we invite our friends and our followers, first of all, to share the live, get it out to people and let them know that they can interact with the show now on Facebook and YouTube. If you're a Red app user, we're available over there as well. But the cool thing about this, Rich, is as we're going through the show tonight, you can be a part of the conversation. If we're talking about something that you have opinions on and you want to weigh in on, you can do that. If you have questions for Max Stambaugh, Craig Mintz, who are coming up as our guests here in a little bit, you can weigh in on that, be a part of that as well in the comments. So we're moderating those. We're looking at those. So be sure to be a part of the conversation here on Horsepower Happenings. All right, one thing missing from the Motor City Minute may have been the big news today from what many consider the top echelon of our sport, that being NASCAR, Rich. Did you see their announcement for today about what the 2026 championship format will look like?
No, I did not see that today.
Really?
But, no,
okay.
I work for a living.
So 3:30 is not a good time. What's going on is what you're telling me.
No, that's probably a bad time, but go ahead and enlighten me. I'm probably going to be excited, right?
Well, it's pretty simple, Rich. The funny part is, you know, if you were a NASCAR fan prior to 2004, you may not agree that they claim that they are listening to their fans. But that's what they said today in the press conference at 3:30. They're listening to their fans, Rich, and they are going back to a 10-race chase for the NASCAR Cup Series championship. Rich hangs his head. Tell me your reaction to that, Rich.
Zach, I'm just not a chase fan. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't care if it's an 8-race, 10-race. What are you going to do? Eventually, let's just put everybody in at the last 10 races. Really?
So it sounds to me then like you would support a full 36 race schedule championship format making a return.
That's the way I would like it, because most racetracks you go to around the country, that's the way it's set up still. Almost anywhere you go, they're not resetting the points and closing it up and giving the guy that's running fourth a chance to win the championship with 3 weeks to go. If he didn't earn it throughout the whole season, why should he have a chance in the last few weeks? That's my opinion.
Are they moving in the right direction for you, though? Or does that not matter at all? Do you still feel like at the end of the day that they're still missing the mark?
Yeah, I think, give me back to 35 and run it. You may have a seat. I don't know that with the talent they have these days. I mean, you have to go back. I mean, Matt Kenseth is what they're trying to avoid, right?
Yeah.
They don't want it ever happening again that a guy that never wins a race wins the championship.
Right.
I don't think that's going to be the case in NASCAR and moving forward with the young talent that's in NASCAR right now that's winning races, and the young talent coming up from the Truck Series, coming up from the Xfinity Series. There's a lot of guys that are awfully talented that want to get up there and race hard. And if you're going to race hard, that means you're trying to win races.
I think one of the other things, too, that a lot of question marks have flown around with, and I didn't get a chance to watch the whole press release. I saw some clips of it. I saw Bob Pockrass's take on it. But there's still some questions about race day format and what the race day format's going to look like. I think with their current car package that they have right now with this reduced horsepower package, that you're still going to need stage racing for the actual on-track product to be entertaining. I don't know what you think.
Well, stage racing has kind of gotten a little more popular, right? Other series do it. ASA Stars National Tour does it. And that really doesn't bother me because I like the fact of I think I like stage racing better than competition cautions, bringing the field back together every 50 laps or 75 laps. But a couple stages and let them go back at it to close up the competition. I don't mind that at all. That's okay.
So I see, I was thinking about this today. I thought if they're going to, I wish they would just call it what it is and call it a competition caution. We're okay. We went 215, 225 laps green. And because the reason I said the horsepower package is what changes my opinion on this is the days of letting somebody go and get a 5-second lead and burn their tires off and then having somebody else who is saving run them down at 0.3 of a second a lap are gone because you're going hard the whole time.
And what I like, one of the things I like about stage racing is it makes you race the whole race. Because they're giving stage points away now. So, and if you're somebody running up front, you're probably running for the championship. You're going to need stage points to win a championship. It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
So that ensures the field from not just cruising for the first 150 laps and then just gearing things up for the last 50 or 100 laps. No, I like that. Make them race the whole race, I say.
Is it time for, and Noah Longyear, who's producing tonight, is significantly younger than you and a little bit younger than me. And I think that he may agree with this as a young NASCAR fan. Is it time for people who called themselves NASCAR fans 20 years ago to admit that they're just simply not NASCAR fans anymore? They're still race fans, but they just are not a fan of NASCAR's product anymore. Is it time to face that reality?
I think so, because I'm really close. You could almost put me in that bucket, Zach.
Yeah.
I used to 20, 25, 30 years ago. My Sundays were scheduled around what time the NASCAR race started. Now it's like, I wonder if maybe while I'm out on the golf course, I can check my phone to see who's winning.
Yeah.
Just that's where I'm at now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And maybe I just catch the last. Maybe if I have a really good round, I can get back and watch the last 20, 30, 40 laps.
But your day is not revolving around it anymore.
It just doesn't. It's just not the same.
Yeah. All right. Interesting. We'll see what happens. I'm interested to hear if they change the race day format at all. Or if those stage points are still just going to be, now they're just going to be kind of like bonus points, like leading a lap and leading the most laps and things of that nature. They just become bonus points. So I don't know. I think it's a step in the right direction that you can't just luck into a win and be racing for a championship. You got to be good for 26 races and be in the top 16. And if you manage that, then you got to go drive your rear end off for 10 races and be consistent and go try to win a championship. I think they're moving in the right direction.
Yeah. And like I said, why why should after 20 races or 25 races should the guy running 16th have a chance at the championship? I
Right.
just don't. He was never going to win it anyway in
Sure.
any other format. So why should he have a chance to win it now? I just think, and then you win one race and you got a shot at it. I know a lot of guys that won one race in a year and never even came close to a
Never had a
championship.
thought of a championship.
Couldn't sniff one.
I know. All right. Well, there you go. That's the update on NASCAR. Let us know what you think in the comments below. They posted an updated 2026 schedule for their season, Rich. It'll start April 25th with Mid-Michigan Mayhem, which I can only assume is going to be a night of destruction. Modified street stocks, pure stocks, front-wheel drive W. I didn't investigate what that means. And front-wheel drive F-8. Any guesses?
F-8 would be figure 8.
Okay. All right. Oh, what's this say here at the bottom? Front-wheel drives, but it doesn't break down. So maybe that's, I don't know what W would be. Wide? I don't know. Destruction number 1 on May 8th. Limited late model street stocks. Front-wheel drives again on May 15th. What are some of the meat and potatoes? Super modifieds, Rich, on June 26th. The week before that, on June 19th, they'll have modifieds back at the racetrack. Limited late models again. The Turn 1 Pro Series on July 31st. That's going to be a good one. August 7th, the Tri-State Sprints are in town. Kids Night and Autograph Night with modifieds as the headliner is on August 21st. The National Compact Touring Series World Series of Compacts will be on August 28th. Legends are on the schedule that night as well at Birch Run. And Championship Night number 2, modified street stocks, pure stocks on September 4th. Mid-Michigan Mayhem monster trucks. I'm sorry. So Mid-Michigan Mayhem, April 25th is a monster truck show. They'll do it again September 18th through the 20th. And then they've got some unique kind of end of the season fun shows sprinkled in at the end. So good schedule for Birch Run, Rich.
Yep. I was looking at it, and it's funny how the way racing has gone. We talked about NASCAR going back. Boy, those Night of Destructions, you just got to load them in on your schedule, don't you, Zach? They got 4 of them on
now. It feels
they got
like
4 of them on. Yeah, because it fills the house, and people like to see that. And on a regular night, you surely don't want to see that. But no, it's great. The Night of Destructions. My limit is probably a 2. I enjoy 2 of them, just because that's what I get to deal with on an annual basis, and it does pack the house. It does pack the house.
I don't know that I've ever attended. I don't think I've ever attended a true Night of Destruction. I know I've never worked one, because I'll tell you right now, my forte as an announcer is play-by-play and kind of a polished. Gary Lindahl, Roger Williams, Chris Phobie, Sean Sprague, those guys, the crowd entertainment side, go nuts.
Right because I was fortunate enough to get paired up with Gary Lindahl, and he has not made every school bus figure 8 event and had to miss some. I also have some experience in singing the school bus song in front of 6,000 fans that are just waiting for it, and they're just so disappointed because Rich is singing it instead of Gary.
What do the wheels on the bus do, Rich?
They go round and round, round and round. The wheels on the bus go round and round.
Oh man,
all day long.
And the viewers on the live show plummet on a Monday night. Speedway made an edit to their schedule, Rich, after we talked about it on last week's show, and this is a cool edit. This is a working together with the community edit. The show on Friday, June 19th, which was going to be a late model special, Rich, is now the American Sprint Car Tour non-wing. I believe these are crate engine sprint cars. Will be there on Friday, June 19th, along with Super Troopers and Cybers. That obviously is a move of their $3,000 to win late model show because of the Dan Soleil Memorial. I think that's the perfect play right there, don't you?
There is a perfect example, Zach, of tracks working together and not stepping on each other. We wouldn't have seen that in years past. It'd have been like, let's see how many cars you get and let's see how many cars I get. Yeah. We're not moving them.
Good luck.
And maybe some of those good guys will come to us and maybe the others will go to you, and we'll both have a good show, and pray you have a good show.
That's right.
but no, no, working together, Hartford, finding out, Crystal's schedule, kudos all the way around for that deal.
My dad wants to know how many diet Pepsis it takes to get you to sing Wheels on the Bus. Is that a clean performance?
A diet? I don't drink diet. That's the problem first.
Well, I was speaking in tongues, Rich. Come on.
No, I did it without any Pepsis.
All right. Good for you.
We're not allowed. I'm not allowed. We're not allowed to drink Pepsis when you work for Ron Drager. Hell no.
The $3,000 to win late model special now has been moved to Friday, July 17th, Rich, with Dirt Car UMP Modifieds for $2,000 to win as well. That could be a really good show on July 17th. That'll be good.
Yeah, I think so. It's just I'm enjoying seeing these schedules come out and a lot of the tracks working together.
Yeah.
If you're a race fan in Michigan and you don't want to go to every track, the same track every single week, if you choose and you want to get out there and you want to go to Berlin and you want to go to Birch Run and you want to go to Flat Rock, you want to go to Crystal, you want to go to I-96, you want to go to Hartford. There are races on alternate weekends where you could go there and be entertained every single night throughout the summer.
Absolutely. And it's a different thing for everybody, I think.
Correct. Yep.
That's the deal. What else? Butler Motor Speedway teasing a schedule release. They took one out of my playbook and they posted a schedule, Rich. I know I need to go see Gossage Eye Institute, but it's not that bad. The schedule is completely blurry, so there's no details. So hopefully that one will be coming out soon. Last thing of noteworthy, newsworthy, Rich. One of our buddies, Scott Menlin, named as the ASA Stars National Tour Director last week. I talked to him on the phone this past week, and I said, doing that? He said, well, no, not really. So the change here, Rich, is, Scott now has a little bit more input on what's happening with the ASA Stars National Tour, which is, that's a pretty big deal. The tour getting sold from Track Enterprises now to Marty Mello, and I think it's MDM Promotions. Needs somebody there that understands what's happening, and we're not just saying this, Rich. You've worked for Scott for a long time. I've worked for Scott for a long time. You've watched Scott mature as a racing manager. I think this is going to be a good fit for him.
Yeah, I do. That's what I thought when I first saw it. I was like, well, hasn't he already been doing that the last 2 years? And maybe yes, you would think maybe yes, because he's doing the drivers' meetings and he's and Bob Sargent was coming to the drivers' meetings as well and speaking to the race teams and the drivers. But when it was up in the tower, it was pretty much Scott running things up there on the race directing side. They did have separate stuff for the safety side and everything. Sure. But this just kind of gives him a title and goes kind of full circle where, like you said, he'll have a little bit more input on what's going on throughout the season and on race day.
Do you want to give some love and kind of, I don't know how I want to handle it, but the Safety Summit is back, Rich, at Lane Automotive over in Watervliet. Our friends with Lane Automotive and Motor State Distributing will be having their Safety Summit presented by K1 Race Gear. This is coming up a couple months from now, but I want to get it on your schedule. Lane Automotive, March 7th. RSVPs are open. The last time I was at the Lane Automotive Safety Summit, Rich, 7 days after I was there, the world shut down. So I have a little PTSD about going back to this Safety Summit. But it is a very cool event. We got to meet some really cool people at this Safety Summit, and it changes your mindset about racing when you go to this Safety Summit. We spend all this money as racers to go faster and faster and faster and faster, and we just neglect being safer inside of the car. This is a really cool event to kind of help people get over that and make strides at being safer inside the race car.
Yeah, and I think what hit home with me, anybody who listened to the show that we did, we had the jump, and it was several years ago.
Lyle Barnett, I think. I saw him again at
yeah, there we go. Got burned up in a drag strip accident. And and just listening to him speak about it, just listening to him should make you say, well, I'm going to buy everything safe, because this guy almost died in a race car.
Really should have.
Right.
Yes.
And and now one of his sole purposes is to continue, because of what happened to him, to increase safety awareness in all types of racing, not just drag racing.
Absolutely. So highlights for the Safety Summit, again, March 7th. Those include safety demonstrations, informational seminars, lecture experts offering proper fitment guidance for helmets and suits. Track owners and promoters roundtable will be held, as well as special pricing on thousands of safety items. You can RSVP today. There is a form online if you're on Facebook. Just search, this is what I just did in live time, just search Safety Summit and it'll come up. You'll see the advertisement. Saturday, March 7th from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. at Lane Automotive Motor State Distributing. Again, that is Saturday, March 7th. All right, coming up, we have the. Oh, did you have something?
Yeah, I was just gonna just to put a close on that. I just want to ask everybody to please do that. Just take a look at your safety stuff.
Yeah.
Zach and I do not want to lead off a show with your name.
That's right.
If you follow our show, you know what I mean. So get your safety equipment, check it out, get out to Lane. They got the best products out there. They'll get you fitted up and get you set up right for the season.
All right, coming up, we have the MadMax Moment, as Max Stambaugh will become one of our guest hosts on the program. Our featured guest this week is Craig Mintz, who obviously is a well-known sprint car driver down in Ohio, Rich, but he is taking Mintz Motorsports into a new chapter, bringing in some hired guns to run these race cars. And we're going to talk with him about the latest driver who's going to be in one of these Mintz Motorsports machines, talk about how his role is changing, talk about some of his business ventures as well. And that's just what I have planned. Who knows what Max Stambaugh's got lined up. And what questions do you have for Max or Craig? Drop them in the comments below. That is coming up on the other side. This is the Horsepower Happenings podcast.
The leader of grassroots racing coverage in Michigan is Horsepower Happenings. Didn't make it to the track? Catch up with the weekly Horsepower Happenings podcast. Available everywhere you enjoy podcasts. Plus, stay in the loop throughout the week by visiting horsepowerhappenings.com. From local results to national headlines, power rankings, and so much more. Every true race fan has bookmarked Horsepower Happenings. Follow along on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And don't miss the next episode of the Horsepower Happenings podcast, Monday nights at 9 p.m. Horsepower Happenings, Michigan's short track racing authority.
I had Welcome back to the Horsepower Happenings podcast. It's time for the MadMax Moment, presented by Jim Coffey and Son Plumbing and Heating. It's our pleasure to welcome in Max Stambaugh for his segment of the month. Max, buddy, what's going on?
Last week we had the banquet, so we got to, have some fun and celebrate a, good year with the Smith team. And man, it's getting to crunch time. I'm 4 weeks out, a month, 5 weeks out from my first race, and things are starting to come into place and ready to get rolling.
Max, I was there. It was great to see. I hadn't seen you in person in a while. We got to hang out a little bit. When you go to the banquet like that, man, and you guys collect a lot of well-earned hardware, right? When you leave that banquet, does it really get you wound up because you're not that far away from getting back in the seat?
Yeah, I think so. I kind of like having the banquet, what you're bringing up later at the first of the year, because it just reminds you, that you guys had a good year, the year before. So definitely cool deal. It was awesome to have Sam there, even though I think everybody heard him all night. It was pretty unique, so it was pretty cool.
No, it was good, and I'm glad you're bringing the family around. All right, man. We were talking. You and I were texting all weekend. Like, who do we want to talk to? What do we want to do? We threw some ideas around, and then it hit me like we got to talk to Craig because there's some really cool stuff happening down in your home state with Ohio, and Craig's behind a lot of it. So I'll let you take it away, Max.
Yeah, I think it's very neat what's going on in racing right now, especially talking about what Craig's got going on. And like me and you said, let's get somebody on here different and, an overall really good race car driver. I figure we start the year, new year off with Craig Mintz. Craig, what's going on, man?
What's going on, Max? Another day in paradise is what they tell me.
Yeah, another day. It's crazy. Was it been about a month ago or a month and a half ago you put a release out? I kind of want to go with that first, and bringing a kid up and kind of doing the owner role a little bit, which I saw you do some. What's going on there, and what made you do that?
Well, I mean, I'm eventually gonna, not be doing this, full time. I'm getting older, and your body doesn't heal as well. I know you're at the ripe young age of 29, but you get to that 40 years old and you start some of these crashes and your body doesn't bounce back like it used to. But long story short, my father and I love spending time around race cars. And if I can't drive, we've kind of already said that we want to own race cars. So, eventually down the road when I cycle out, it'll be a full-time, gig where we have some race cars. We're not going to go outlaw racing, and we're not going to make it that far. I don't foresee that, but it was something that we brought up, and I got some pretty good word from Mike Linder and Steven Linder, who run the Fremont School of Education, which is a really cool scenario where you can kind of go get some laps behind a 410 car or a 360 car or even a 305, and they put this kid in it. And I got a text message about 5 laps into it that, hey, this kid's pretty good. The last time I got that text message, it was Carson Macedo. So,
wow.
I don't get that very often. So it's something that kind of perked my interest. And it was kind of a few conversations just to kick off if somebody was even interested in that, right? It was just hey, does this work? Then the second one was, hey, what can we do? And then it took about 4 months probably to kind of really get some digging into it. And then we kind of struck a deal of being able to put another team together. It'll be a completely separate team than from my 09 crew as well as my 305 team. So it'll operate separately, be crewed separately. So that's been a little bit of a hurdle. But it'll be really cool to see Graham Huffman behind the wheel. And the thing about his age, he's only 15 and a half. So, it kind of blends a scenario of, you really can't be in a 410 or on big half miles. So the next greatest thing is running with you guys with the GLSS, right? And it's a great series. I got to run it the last, year or two ago. with Shannon Eifert, and I really had fun. I really had fun racing with you guys, and it's economical. And ultimately that was kind of going to be his stepping stone, for probably 3/4 of the season.
I think that's pretty neat, and the thing about you, Craig, is, some way, somehow you're always like giving back to the sport. And, what a better situation for Graham to work with the Linder family, right? So, it was funny. I read the article, and then a couple weeks ago I have Tulsa on, and he's out there doing a good job. And I'm like, man, I think this kid's going to turn some heads this year. So I'm pretty excited. Zach, it's been a while since we saw somebody really young come out and really, yes, they're fast and they gain speed. And I'm not knocking nobody or nothing, but I think this kid might be something special.
The one that comes out to my mind is like Jack Nichols went out there and dominated our lightning sprint deal. But it took him a minute, right, to get that 360 figured out. Now we had him on the show and he's kind of, he's becoming somebody. But, I was going to ask Craig what it takes, like when you find somebody with this talent who's not family, for you to say, yeah, I'm going to invest in them and put them in equipment, because you don't know what they're going to be like in a big car.
You don't really, right? And it's all going to come down to, how he handles it. But I mean, I watched him, I got to see, I wasn't there the day, he got to run that car, but I got to watch some video, and I got to run the feedback of some of the guys, when they were, having some conversations with him, right? And him running some karts at Millbridge and some things that I got to see that you can just pick up that they're able to at least wheel a race car. And you really don't know, and Max can put his, attest this, you really don't know how these things react, because they're just a completely different animal than what anything is out there. But very well mannered, very kind of just well relaxed, great family. So for me, it wasn't a huge leap. Because everything he likes to take care of equipment, and one of the first things he said is, I want to get to Ohio as much as I can to work on these things. So, even with that being said, that makes a huge, saying it's not just, I'm just going to show up with my helmet, and be able, hey, I'm getting in and drive. And if I
Go ahead, Rich.
Yeah. I was looking up, when Graham went out to the Tulsa shootout, and this kid isn't scared of anything. He ran all 4 classes, picked up a stock non-wing heat win. And out of 11 races that he raced, he moved forward from where he started and finished in 8 of them as a 15-year-old. There's adults that go out to that event and can't do that. That's pretty impressive, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, that was just another scenario, right? I mean, I looked and watched while he was out there, just car control, some of the stuff he could do, and sometimes you run into those scenarios where they're not aggressive enough. So then you start looking at it as man, this isn't going to work. But then you get the kids that don't care about equipment, then they're destroying it every week. So I think he's a half of a blend of both, which is going to, be able to be something down the road that I think he's going to really need. And he listens, so if you give him advice, he takes that and uses that criticism or the instructions and does it. It's not I already know how to race these things, or I already know how to do these. He's very humble, and he wants to learn. That's the thing I love about him is the questions he asks are the right questions. It's not something that, he's reading from a script, that somebody wrote him. He's actually getting the, inside him, he wants to be a race car driver. And, you see a lot of those kids out there excelling that want to be a race car driver. And I think that's going to be, his key to his success.
I think that you were, you told us before we went on, you were working on coming home, and you're going to go do exactly what I was going to say. Grab that shop stool so we can get you back in frame. When you are getting ready, this is different than owning your own stuff, right? Like now you've got to balance what a driver needs. You're going to try to decipher a 15-year-old's, needs and wants. Like, are you still going to be able to focus on your equipment? How much are you hiring a crew chief for him? Is he bringing a crew chief? Like, what are your balances going to be now throughout the season to try to make sure that your stuff is fast and you can go win races, but that he has a chance to go out there and perform the best that he can?
You put great people in great positions to be able to do that, right? I mean, I'm blessed with the crew guys that I have on all 3 teams. Myself, my '09 team that I'll run is filled with great people. Chris Hartzell has been, our backbone, and my dad have been my backbone for the last 2 or 3 years. I've been really busy with the business, and I'm building a home. So I got a lot of things on my plate, and I don't really have to worry about things being right on the car. Rich Whitty helps get things around and get things where they need to be. So it's been a blessing to be able to just let them guys go. And then they just basically tell me what they need. Do they need X this, X this, X this? And then I put my input on what we may need or what we may not need just to budget it, right? Because if it was an unlimited budget, it'd be pretty easy. I'd just say, hey, go to Kistler's or call Motor State and get it done, right? But it's not. And then the other one with the '09 X that Graham will be running, he'll have the Linders part as they're going to be the crew and crew chiefs on that. So I've bringing in great guys that understand how things need to be done and how I like it to be done, because we've raced together, but they understand. I want it to look a certain way. I want it to be a certain race team. So that's going to be nice. So I don't really have to worry about it. It's just the balance for me is being able to never have a driver. Rich Farmer told me this a long time ago. I'd never want to have a driver tell me that they could win if they had this on the car, or they could win if they didn't have that, right? So I never want that as an excuse. But I also know I can't have an unlimited budget race car flying around there either. So I got to balance that, So I don't want him to be afraid that we don't have spares, but you start thinking about building a race team from scratch, and I 100%, I'll be honest, is I undercalculated what it takes. Tire pressure gauges and tire sipers and groovers and wheel wrenches and things you don't think of, and just tools for a mule. You don't think about that. Hey, I got all that. Well, yeah, you got all of it. Now you need another set.
You got it one time. Now you need it 2 times.
Because there's going to be interest that, the 410 team, we're going to go run with some of the all-star races in Indiana. And I know that Graham's got a couple races at, maybe Butler or Crystal or wherever those may be. And we're not going to be anywhere near each other. So we're not going to be able to share jacks and share stuff that you could get by with. And I don't want it that way, right? But it's a lot of undertaking in that. And luckily, the Linders are able to help me, put together a piece of a checklist of we need this, and this. And then, bleeders. And, we're basically starting it from scratch. We've been lucky enough to have some partners come in and help us with the X this and X that, but it's been really nice it's been smooth so far. We're a little ways off from racing yet, but it's been, kind of a blessing that we had some stuff ready, and our cars here at this shop are, we can drop in engines and be racing. So I feel like we're in a pretty good spot because we just don't go to Florida. We don't do those things. So to say, I'm excited and the team's excited to see what happens is an understatement.
Craig, it's funny because me growing up as a kid, you were winning all the time at Attica and Fremont. And, Zach, one thing about Craig is he battled with the Outlaws, years ago. And not that he still couldn't, but man, that was just so impressive. And just like he said, the working on the race car, and I know he does all that himself. So it's like, I guess my question for Craig is it's like, how many more years do you think you're going to do this at the level you're doing it? I mean, are you 5 years out? Are you 7 years out? Are you 1 year?
I'm probably 5 at max. I would say it's probably even a little bit less than that. Because I got a little guy that's probably going to be racing soon too. So, when that time comes that he gives me the nod and I feel he's ready, then I'm in with both feet with him, and which will slow down mine. I kind of attest that to kind of like a Lee Jacobs. He did the same scenario when race got into that. He was the same way. He ran a limited schedule, and I think that's the part I want. There's some bucket list stuff I still want to do yet, but I'm slowly checking them off.
Does the success of Graham change that, or maybe it's not Graham? Does the success of the hired car, I'll call it, change that as well?
Yeah, I mean, he comes in and he's, winning races. Yeah, I'm gonna do some more focusing on him, right? I mean, I want to take him as far as we can take him. To be we theoretically, it sounds awful, but I want to be a stepping stone. I want to be a scenario to where I have something in here to give these kids an opportunity to be seen, because we're in a weird scenario with the racing world, right? We have, the All-Stars are doing a phenomenal job to build up this regional, but we still, to go run a high limit or a World of Outlaw schedule, the number compared to that to running a regional is grossly different. And we didn't have that, right? And I think this is where we're in that little 5-year leap year gap scenario that we have to fill the void. So there's nothing in that saying that there's anything wrong with it. It's just a different way of looking at it. So if I'm a way to be able to get these guys, kids, and it's kind of weird because he's 15 and a half, I get to call him a kid now, but
Yeah.
if I'm able to give these guys opportunities that I was given, I want to be able to do that. And it's only just to put people in the right position. And if they succeed, then that's great. If they don't, then we try to look for that next person. But everything we see so far, hopefully, like you said, it breeds success, which then will probably slow me down even quicker. Just because, again, there's times that I've went to the racetrack when we had Carson, or when we had Christopher Bell in a car, or Chris Andrews in it. I really enjoyed the car owning scenario. I think a little bit because I got to work on it and I understand how it works, but a little bit of it is I get to sit back and relax and watch people have fun, and I get to have fun, right? And sometimes you go to the races as a race car driver, and man, there's so many nerves and so many things that are going through my brain. And then I got on top the businesses on top of that, and there's been times that I'm rolling out on Friday night and all I'm thinking about is work and payroll and goofy things like that when I shouldn't be. So, which isn't fair to my guys. So there's times that I know that it's coming. It's just I'll know when it is, when it happens, and I'll ride off into the sunset and have some fun. But for the 09, I don't think it's going to go anywhere anytime soon.
All right. Real quick, want to say thank you to Jim Coffey and Son Plumbing and Heating, the sponsor of the MadMax Moment since 1955. Mid-Michigan has relied on Jim Coffey and Son Plumbing and Heating, fully licensed and insured. Jim Coffey and Son Plumbing and Heating services homes, apartments, schools, offices, shops, and so much more. Free estimates, rapid response times. They are able to repair leaks, water heater exchanges, install tankless water heaters, sump pumps, boilers, water line excavation, and so much more. Call 517-764-7575. That's 517-764-7575 for Jim Coffey and Son Plumbing and Heating. Rich?
Craig, you've won in about everything that you've sat in, and you talked about getting this text about Graham, but obviously you had to sit down and talk to him as well. How long into that conversation did it take you before you knew this was the decision you were going to make?
30 seconds. I mean, we went to a restaurant and we sat down. Before we even sat down, he shook my hand. My wife was with him. Took his hat off, hit her hand. You could just tell the mannerism instantly, right? And I felt that vibe, and everybody was just for not knowing a family and meeting them. It wasn't like we had sat down for the 4th or 5th time. So it was very, there, right? And we sat for, I would say, a good 2 hours. And not once did he look at his cell phone. Not once did he was off in La La Land, always engaged, in wanting to see my side of what I needed from them, right? And what I was expecting of them, of him. I one of the things I tried to tell, because I've coached girls basketball, and I know how parents get when you get on the kid, and I kind of reminded them that we're not gonna tiptoe around it. I mean, you drive it in the fence, or I feel like you're not running it hard enough, or I felt like you did something wrong, I'm gonna tell you. And making sure that that's okay, right? I mean, you got to find this happy balance of I remember starting off in a 410, and Dick Sabo was my guy that was overseeing me, and I was fired 5 times the first night. And my helmet bag was thrown out of the end of it. And so, but it made me tougher, but I also knew that it was harder to grind through that if you didn't have that, support or somebody racing for. So, but within that, like I said, that 30 seconds of us meeting, even my wife, kind of gave me the nod while she was sitting with me, just to kind of, you could feel that, it was going to be a good fit for a while.
Yeah, that's crazy. It goes back to, like you said, you coaching sports, and I just feel like things have changed so much in the racing world over the years. I don't know. There is one thing, Zach, I did want to bring up. There's one thing me and Craig agree on in racing, and that is a nice slick track with not
Yes.
a 10-foot cushion. And it's, anytime here lately, there's a certain track he runs at all the time. And I show up and I'm like, man, back in the day, I used to be all right here and be able to just finesse and have a good night. Like he said, right in the sunset. I think these racetracks, Craig, got to get their shit together a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, the problem, like I said, it's a half dozen because I can tell you my tire bills went down a lot, right? But I can tell you my parts bill went up. So
Yeah.
and my engine bill went up. So it's a half blend, and I like racing on the other ones. I don't want to see a dyno session. I just don't. I don't feel like it does anybody any good. There's two racetracks that we race at. One isn't as bad. The other one progressively is getting to the negative side. I feel like it's wide open, mid-level racetrack or on the bottom, and there's not much passing. It's very difficult because you could do that 20 years ago, 25 years ago, because the cars were so, you had your couple top 3 or 4 guys, but I'm trying to figure out the last time a guy went from 20th to win, right? It's been a long time, right? Brent Marks did it like 5 or 6 years ago with the All-Stars, but it was dead slick. You just can't bring that excitement. So there's got to be a balance, but you also don't want to take in rubber because then us drivers, we yell at them for that too. So we have to find that. And it's one thing that, you and I agree that I would rather have it like that. I think it puts on a better show. But when I run with, the GLSS, every time I seem to go with those guys, it is similar like that, right? I-96 gets to where it's slick, but it has a curb enough to lean on. I don't want them to where, we can't get going, but I also want that balance. And it's a hard fine line. And there's been some new dirt added into some racetracks that I think have, they got to get that balance of how much water it really needs. And I don't think they've found that yet.
One of the things I love about this podcast is we talk a lot about racing. That's what it's all about. But I like when we can talk about some other stuff, Craig. Talk to me about your business. Talk to me about how you get into that, because it's funny. Some of these race car drivers, I'm like, do you hunt? Do you fish? Do you do anything else? Nah, I just drive race cars. Okay. Craig, you do some other stuff, man. Talk about your business.
Yeah, so we have two predominantly our big businesses. The first one dabs in a lot of agricultural. So you're driving down the road, for those listening, and you see a lot of plot signs with a bunch of numbers on them, and mean most nothing to everybody, but the farmers and everybody know what those mean. So we do almost 2/3 of the country and some of Canada. So it's a lot of signs. So we're a screen print company, big digital print company. We do some airline industry, Air Emirates, Delta, places, some high value prints for airplanes, all decorative, nothing mechanical, nothing any of that. When you would walk into an Air Emirates, or if you're ever flying, seats that I don't make enough money to sit in, but the ones you sit, you can like kick your feet back, and there's cubicles, a lot of privacy glass, things of that nature. The other one of our business is Real Geese Decoys. So we make a silhouette decoy for hunting waterfowl. Can anywhere from Canada's to ducks to specks to sandhill cranes. We sell on Amazon. We have our own websites. We have a couple dealers across the United States, but that keeps us pretty busy in the wintertime. But then we do race car wraps, fans, the standard stuff.
How do you get into Real Geese Decoys? I got to know.
How did I get into it?
Yeah, like are you a hunter who said, "Damn, these things don't look real at all. I can make a better job of this"?
Well, no, I'm kind of a second generation scenario of it. My father started it with another gentleman. They were out in Spokane, Washington when they started it. They seen the need for it.
Okay.
And it's kind of grown since then. I've kind of taken it to where it's more digital, to where, there's more social media presence, that kind of stuff.
Sure.
It's been probably the last 12 or 13 years, but it's an odd scenario because, again, we basically print birds on plastic and sell it. It doesn't sound like much.
Does it
but
work?
It
Does
works.
Well,
Yeah.
then there you go.
Yeah, it sounds odd, but it is.
That's all that matters. Rich?
Yep.
Yeah, Craig, Max had talked to you about, how long you want to sit in the seat, kind of. And I guess I just want to kind of narrow it down a little more. You're going to have a busy 2026 season, it sounds like. What's your schedule look like for this year?
I think what we're gonna do, I have 4 races scheduled with the GLSS. There's probably gonna be 2 more added that I'd like to get to. 2 at Mansfield. I can't. There's another one in Michigan. There's actually 2 in Michigan that I haven't raced yet. And I believe 1 I-96. So I think maybe 5 nights with that. Then we'll run the high limit shows at Fremont. We'll run the 2 World of Outlaw shows at Attica. Those will probably be a guaranteed scenario. We'll run a lot of speed week. We like to hit that 20, 24, 25 race schedule. And we'll hit or miss. We won't run for points anywhere. For me, I'm over that. I'm too old. I like to, when it's in August and 107 degrees outside, I like to get in my camper and go sit around a fire and drink a beer. So that's what I like to do. And I love to spend time with my family and do that. So I would say those are my big hitters. We'll go travel with the All-Stars, whether we go to New York or we'll go to an Indiana series. We like to run with those guys for a weekend. And it's something that, we got to run Paragon and Bloomington last year, 2 racetracks I'd never been to. And I kind of checked them off my bucket list. I haven't raced in New York yet, so we may look at going up there to, I think it's State Line and a couple of those when they roll up there.
Dude, that's the funny thing. Like, that's the funny thing. Like you were talking about Stambaugh being so young. 25 races, he doesn't even break a sweat yet.
Yeah, and that's the crazy part. I mean, I remember we used to run 50 races a year, but for me, it's just not feasible with my team. It's not feasible with my work, nor is it really feasible and fair to my family at this point right now. I've gotten to the point, I like the grind, but after a while, after 26 years of doing it, the grind's starting to get a little bit to the point of, I don't do this for a living. If it was something that I was young and wanted to strive to do it, yeah, I'd race 60, 70 races if I could, but it just not in the cards anymore. And I've accepted that. And it's something that, we might do 1 year within the next year or 2 where we go hard for one final kind of send off. But even then, it's fairly going to be difficult. Just the cost of things is getting a little out of control. Tires and engines don't need to be costing what they need to be. And everything else I don't feel that bad. I feel like the rules that some sanctioning bodies are making are absolutely ridiculous. But that's for another show and about a 12-hour conversation with some people. But it gets a little out of control. But ultimately,
telling you what, Max, you know this too, Max. If we'd had this show in 1 week, we could have had a hell of a show.
Oh boy,
there's some stuff coming down. There's some stuff coming down the line, man. So it's we're hearing some stuff. So it's interesting what might be coming. But anywhoozle, last thing I wanted to ask you was, shortly after you announced Graham, you put out another post saying that you were still looking for the right person. What is this other opportunity? It doesn't sound like it's as many races, maybe. What are you trying to put together?
So Graham isn't able to, due to his age, to run a 410 car yet. So I have another 410 car. So we have the 360 team that he's in, but that team will also race a 410 car when schedule allows. So when we're trying to put together other schedules, meetings, so when they're not racing, with the GLSS and maybe the Outlaw show at Attica, right? He can't race it. So there's an open seat for that, right? And then there's an open seat maybe for a couple other shows. It's just for us, we had the engine, the cars are identical. Why not? So we're still looking for that. It kind of, there is a price for it. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that there isn't. But if there's a high profile driver that, contacts us and says, hey, I'd be, I'm not, batting my eyes at it. Right.
Yeah.
But, so there is a little bit of a scenario where it does cost some cash and be able to help us fund through it. Cause, we're not doing this to, really do this as a full on ride. It is sort of, lack of better terms, a rent a ride, but it is an open seat. So, but you kind of have to have, I'm not just going to put anybody that walks up to it with a checkbook in it. That's not fair to Graham or fair to our guys working on it. So, if there's somebody out there that, has some funding that, has been in a car before and has showed promise, because, we don't go to the racetrack and say, yeah, we just want to make the show. We go there to win. And I've told all my drivers that, even back when Carson was there and Chris Andrews when he drove for me. If you junk it, then you junk it, right? We have backups for a reason. I still remember one night at Attica going into turn 3. Carson was flipping in front of me and I was in the middle of it. And both of our cars got tore up. I got to go to the staging area and I hear a ratchet strap holding on my tail tank, and all I hear is the ratchet noise. And I reach over and I'm yelling at my guys and I'm asking if that was a ratchet strap. And Mike Linder sticks his head in there and he says, just don't worry about it, drive the crap out of it. And I said, no problem. Well, then as I do that, I see the other 09X that Carson was driving being carried off basically into the sunset with a wrecker. So I destroyed 2 cars, but it's something that, we've told each other that it can happen. You can't think of it as when you have team cars or you have cars, because there's going to be nights that, we race against Graham. And I've told him, I said, I'm not going to treat you any different than anybody else. I'm not going to stuff you in the fence, but, I'm not going to, roll over to the side for you either. So,
Max?
Yeah, no, I think this was a really good episode. Craig's been, a legend in the making in our sport in a long time. And, something really cool is what he's doing, giving back, giving a kid an opportunity. Craig, best of luck this year. I'm sure I'll see you at the track. You probably won't see me at the beginning of the year, at the end of March at Attica, because I already know what that'll be like. I'll be down south USCS racing.
Yeah, you're probably what the opening night for JLSS is about that same time, isn't it? At that I-75.
Yep.
10th and 11th. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that has been debated on ours to go there with the 360 team.
Max will buy the beer.
Yeah, well, it's fine with me. I just my big thing is I don't have 2 360 engines, so I might be in trouble if I show up there with a 410. They might frown upon that a little bit.
All right, so I guess I got to bring Aldrich with us to I-75. All right, understood. Hey, Craig, thanks for making time for us. Good luck this season. Looking forward to seeing you with Graham, and we can't wait to see that 09X car on the track.
Awesome, I appreciate it, guys. And like I said, hopefully we'll see you guys at the racetrack. And Max, I'll definitely see you there a few times. And when you guys are around or anybody's down there, we're at a GLSS. Stop in and say hi, and we'll have T-shirts and we'll have all the good stuff. And great. Come down and see Graham. He's a good kid, and meet the family.
All right, that's the MadMax Moment presented by Jim Coffee and Son Plumbing and Heating. We did get some questions on the Facebook page, but you guys, Max, you might have to go back, and most of them are toward you, like Zen flavor. I'm not getting into that on the show. So go back and check that out on the Facebook. We're going to take a break. Rich and I are back to wrap things up in just a moment here on the Horsepower Happenings podcast.
Of grassroots racing coverage in Michigan is Horsepower Happenings.
All right.
Didn't make
Thanks,
it to the
Noah.
track? Catch
Cool.
up with the
Thank you,
weekly
Craig.
Horsepower
Appreciate it.
Hey, no problem.
Good job, Craig.
We'll
Thank
see
you.
you soon.
Thanks, guys.
No problem.
Stay in the loop.
Take care,
throughout
guys.
the week
Yep,
by
bye-bye.
visiting horsepowernhappenings.com. From local results to national headlines, power rankings,
All
and
right.
so much more. Every true race fan has bookmarked Horsepower Happenings. Follow along on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and don't miss the next episode of the Horsepower Happenings podcast, Monday nights at 9 p.m. Horsepower Happenings, Michigan's short track racing authority.
Welcome back to the Horsepower Happenings podcast. Thanks again to Craig and Max for being on the show, the MadMax Moment, presented by Jim Coffee and Son Plumbing and Heating. Next week, Gary, did you know, as we have Michigan Motorsports Hall of Famer Gary Lindahl on the program, we will repost the Gary Did You Know quiz this week, so you can take another swing at that and maybe come up with some Horsepower Happenings swag. Upcoming calendar of events, Rich, this Saturday, you and I get to get all dolled up and see what's going on in Metro Detroit.
Yeah, Zach, the 60th annual Michigan Auto Racing Fan Club Awards banquet. Tickets are no longer available, so this is just a reminder, if you're one of the lucky 500 or so that will be in the house. Zaccaro's Banquet Hall on Gratiot in Chesterfield Township. Cocktail hour begins at 5 p.m. with dinner at 6. Awards to follow. Then after the awards presentations, Zach will be spinning your favorite tunes. Maybe if you're down there, get him down on the dance floor as well. Maybe.
What is the song? Cha-Cha Slide. You'll probably see me. I like to get out there and do the Cha-Cha Slide. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had fun last year, but we won't have because we were juggling between music and the Lions game, which was kind of weird.
Yeah,
unfortunately, we don't have to worry about that this year.
An odd balance. But what do we got? We got Chili Bowl Nationals this year, though, right? So maybe that'll be the thing that we have to balance. I don't know.
Chili Bowl and Wild West Shootout. Also,
that's right.
Wild West Shootouts Friday, Saturday, and Sunday as well.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that's going to do it for our program tonight. Keep an eye out. There may be some big announcements coming this weekend. A couple of things that we're associated with. So just keep that Horsepower Happenings social media feed near you. Rich, you've got your finger going.
Yeah, I just wanted to give one more upcoming thing just to give it a 2-week head start.
Please. Yes.
Because people can't plan leaving town on like a few days notice. Not everybody can do that. But just a couple weeks away, the pavement season starts. Speedfest 2026.
That's right.
Friday and Saturday, January 23rd and 24th. If you want to get away from winter for just a weekend or so, then this is your chance. Cordele Motor Speedway in Cordele, Georgia. ASA CRA Super Series and the Southern Super Series late models. Turn 1 CRA Pro late models. Both are non-points events to kick off 2026. Legends and Bandoleros will also be in action Friday. Practice and qualifying for all divisions. Saturday, an 11:30 a.m. autograph session. 12:15 opening ceremonies. First green flag flies at 1 o'clock. 100 laps for the pro late models. 150 laps for the super late models, Zach.
And you say a break from winter. I've been down there when it's been 38 degrees in Georgia. So just be careful what you're advertising.
Well, from the forecast that I see, now I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's going to be warmer in Cordele, Georgia than it's going to be in Michigan.
Okay, we'll see how she goes. Keep the Horsepower Happening social media streams, pages near you this weekend. Some pretty cool stuff on the horizon. Hopefully we can announce some stuff that we're doing. And again, I understand there's some stuff coming down the line that could rock some industries. So we're going to keep an eye on that. Chili Bowl this week. Have fun with that. The Tulsa Shootout, Wild West Shootout, Rich, as you mentioned, going on this week as well. And man, we're a couple of weeks away from things getting really busy with speed weeks as well. So we've only got, we talk about this, Rich, like 2 or 3 weeks of this kind of lull, and we're going to be in the paint, man. We're going to be going in the fluff.
We were talking about that. We're saying, oh, what are we going to do? We got to make it through winter. We've almost made it, Zach, and we're still on the air. How about that?
And we're doing new stuff.
New stuff, yeah.
I know. It's wild. So thanks so much to everybody tuning in live on Facebook. Appreciate you. Thanks to all those who are watching, or listening back on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, Pandora, wherever it is that you enjoy podcasts. Thank you so much for making Horsepower Happenings one of the ones that you enjoy. For Rich France, I'm Zach Heiser, Noah Longyear, our producer. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you same time, same place next week, right here on Horsepower Happenings.
You've been listening to Horsepower Happenings. The views and opinions expressed in tonight's show may not directly reflect that of Horsepower Happenings. The contents of this program may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or disseminated without the express written consent of Horsepower Happenings. Follow Horsepower Happenings on Facebook, Instagram, X, and all major podcast platforms, including Spotify, iHeart, iTunes, and Pandora, to keep up on what's happening.